Look at these almacos. Look at that. Blasted things. Why can't they be mahi? Or one cobia. Just one. Almacos are good to eat though, but there sure is a lot of them. Don't know what this is. Just threw it out. Probably another almaco. Feels bigger than the other ones though. I don't think it's a red snapper. Just threw this out my top line and it got slammed. It's not a shark sucker. Stay away from the anchor rope. It is a jack. Looks like a jack. Just a blue runner. Blue. Look at all those almacos around this blue runner. And the shark sucker. That's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. Lots of life out here. My good goobly goo. Lots of life. I'll let this big guy go. Well, there's another big almaco with a bunch of big almacos. Not huge almaco, but good sized almaco on my back line. Look at them. I mean, they're right here. Yeah, right there. Whole bunch of them. Goodness, goodness, goodness. One more. I think I'm going to give these to Big John. He's the biggest almaco I've caught today. Nice big boy. Okay. Reeling in so many fish. Get tired already. I mean, not even noon. Come on. Let me put you right in here. Oops. Oops. Come on. There you go. If this wind would calm down, by the way, there's Bertha. I swear she is the biggest turtle I've ever seen out here. Huge head, size of a soccer ball. That's a big turtle, big one. Holy moly. Okay. Well, here she comes. She's coming closer. That's not a leatherback either. You see, those leatherbacks are the biggest ones. Got almaco jacks all around her. Hey, Bertha. Myrtle! That's Bert. Oh! Daggone it. I had my shrimp down the back here and almost got me a shark sucker. Almost got me a shark sucker. Don't want a shark sucker. I think I got something on a grunt tail. I'm about ready to leave out deep here and go in a little bit shallower. This wind doesn't seem to be slowing down too much and the waves are still just about as big as they always were. So, I'll see what this is and probably let it go. Oh, it's a trigger. It's a trigger. And not a big enough trig, but it's a trig. That's another species. All these almacos still swimming around here. I'll make sure. They gotta be 14 inches and I bet you he's 13. You know what? He's 14. He's 14 right on the nose. 14, I'm taking him home with me. One trigger, 5 vermilions, and 5 almacos at this spot. Wow, and a bunch of other red snapper, the illegal fish that you can't keep. There you go. There you go, my ego. Oh, gone. There we go. That's what I'm leaving. Covered up. The whole midsection is covered up. All right, I've come in about halfway, about 18 miles back in. And I'm in 79 to 80 feet of water. Temperature 79.8. I'm trying to see if my trolling motor is going to hold me. I hope it will. I think it will, because look at this. I mean, I came straight back in. It's looking beautiful right here. Looking for black sea bass. All right, first fish at this new spot. No clue. Feels like a black sea bass, though. I'm going to say black sea bass. Undersized. Nope. Little red snapper. Way undersized. Well, I've caught several little bitty triggerfish. And some grunts. I got some grunts. I might move over to an area where there might be some mangroves. See one boat, saw another boat. Hardly anybody out here. Look at this, gorgeous. And beautiful and gorgeous. Just a red snapper. Just a red snapper. That we gotta let go. Because he's not part of the show. I got something. I got something. Okay. Come on, what do we got? Just a big old red snapper, I bet. Yeah, I'm going to feed to that barracuda. Yep. See that red snapper coming up there? He's going to be a goner. I drop him back in the water. That barracuda going to go, oh boy, red snapper for lunch, my favorite. That's what he's going to say. We'll see if I can follow him down or not. Maybe not. Yeah, I can't see him. You'll just have to take my word for it. He's a goner. There's a big old barracuda swimming right around here. You know, this just might be my second triggerfish of the day. 13 3/4. Ouch. I don't think that barracuda's gonna get you, because you're too mean and tough. But there's gotta be one down there 14 inches. They're so good to eat. Okay, I have 3 cams on my cam platform, and each one is pointing in a different direction. So I get 3 different angles when I drop these cams down to the bottom. And my cams were down for approximately 20 minutes, maybe 21 minutes, so I have a total of about an hour of video. Get ready and you'll see the massive amount of fish that's just under the boat. Spadefish, blue runners, almacojacks, and yes, look at the incredible amount of mangrove snappers. Unbelievable. And from each cam I only have just a couple of minutes of clips that I'm showing in this video, but look at the massive size of those thug red snappers. I won't be going to any artificial reefs to catch red snapper this season that's coming up next month. I'll be coming right here, and I'll leave all the huge red snapper that are at all the artificial reefs to everybody else while I go to this spot, and I'll just keep one of these big boys when the time comes. I estimate that the biggest red snapper that you will see, like that one right there, that's close to 30 inches. There's one or two you'll see that is probably close to 34, 35 inches. Cast a huge shadow on the bottom. And you will see some black fish. They look like they're almost black. I think those are just breeding mangrove snapper, pretty sure. But it's the lack of color. You know, they're probably a brilliant brownish color, but because of the water effect this deep, in the cam they turn blackish color. And that clicking sound you hear, I have a metal clip attached to the fishing pole that I have that I pull up these cams and drop them down, and that metal clip is clicking and clanking as the waves rise and fall and pull it up and down. There's just about nothing I can do about it unless I get a plastic one, and I don't want to put a plastic one on my cams. There's just an endless amount of grunts in these videos. A few sheep's head, lots of mangrove snapper, red snapper, almaco jacks. You'll see some vermilion snapper. If you can recognize the shape, it's just a little bit different than the grunts, but they're small. They're not the big ones like further offshore. All kinds of different species that you'll see, like that mangrove snapper right there. Boy. And in a couple of the videos, you'll see a juvenile Goliath grouper in the background. He's not a huge one, probably in the neighborhood of 50 pounds or so. He shows up later on. Now, in amongst all those mangrove snapper, you will see an enormous mangrove. I'm not sure it's a mangrove. Look at that one right there in the background. I'm not sure if that was a mangrove or what it was. Could have been I don't know, a dog snapper or something. It just kind of mixed in with those mangroves, but it was almost as big as some of these larger red snapper. When I arrived at this spot, probably 18 to 20 miles out from coming back from being 30 to 35 miles out, I only stayed here probably about an hour, maybe a few minutes more. There's almaco jack, there's unicorn fish, that flatfish right there. Um, So I stayed there about an hour, dropped these cams down for about 20 minutes. Since there were 3 cams, that's a total of about an hour. Uh, and this is a natural area. And pay attention to all of the fish up above the bottom. I mean, it's just three-dimensional. It just goes on for as far as you can see. And this isn't a small area, it's huge. So this 20 minutes and all these thousands of fish that you see, well, there's tens of thousands. And what else is in there for only 20 minutes of viewing? What else is down there that didn't show up in the 20 minutes that these cams were down? I can only imagine. And this would be a great time to insert the Bible verse um, into this silent area. So this is from Mark chapter 11, verse 25. Now pay attention because there's that 50-pound Goliath grouper. Now pay attention to the words that Jesus is saying. And whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him, that your Father in heaven may also forgive you your trespasses. Well, there's a little word in there called stand that you need to pay attention. In other words, you don't have to be on your knees, you don't have to be in your bedroom, you don't have to be in your closet, because you are standing praying. So anywhere you are, whenever it hits you, time to pray. And that means God is always ready to listen to you. Okay, I guess you saw that pork fish, that bright yellow fish that just darted by. Don't know why they show up so bright when all these other fish are kind of mottled out, but the pork fish always show up brilliantly. And yes, that's my fishing line, and yes, there's no bait on my hook. And you can tell I'm on the hump right here. And in the background, looks to be way in the background there, a ledge of some sort. That could be what the reason is for all of these fish and all these mangrove snapper. And this is the same area that I was at a week or so ago with Big John, and I caught that grouper that I had to let go. So back in there, underneath one of those ledges, is that grouper, and could be some more. I'm going to go try it next time out. I want to put a grouper in the cooler this year. Now the reason I think that I'm having such difficulty in catching some of these mangrove snapper is because when I catch one of these grunts on a shrimp or a piece of squid, and I get it up to the surface and I cut the grunt in half, have a midsection or a tail section, I drop it down, uh, try to catch a mangrove. Well, you get these grunts and triggerfish all attacking the hunk of grunt that's down there. And the red snapper, they're not shy about also attacking it. So you catch, lots of grunts, a few triggerfish, and almost certainly a red snapper if you got a half a grunt or even a whole grunt down there. But Because of all this mixture of a variety of fish, it's difficult for me to catch any of these blasted mangrove snapper, even though there's so many of them down there. And even though I have caught porgy and lane snapper in this area, in the 20 minutes that these cams were down, pointing in 3 different directions, I did not see a single porgy or lane snapper. And I even have seen yellowtail snapper out here, but not in this video, not at this time. And what was kind of nice was that during this trip, the whole trip, I didn't catch a single shark. And for me, that's a record. And all those little white flakes and things that you see floating by, that's what's called detritus. And that is nothing more, it's natural. That pieces of the plant that slough off and the eggshells from the fish that are not consumed, they just go floating by and eventually dissolve into the ocean floor if they don't get eaten. Now this is one of those great big red snapper I was telling you about. This big girl here, she's probably in the neighborhood of 33, 34 inches. Angelfish, almaco jacks. Beautiful, just fantastic. Alright, it's about time to start pulling these cams up.
you'll see the cams as they're going through the top of the bottom and the midsection up into the, looks like an almost sterile top. That's where the barracuda's hanging around. I'm not sure if he shows up in the videos here or not, but he was hanging around, and I'm sure that he hit some of those red snapper that I dropped overboard. He gets to eat them, but we don't. Just look at that. As far as you can see, fish, fish, fish. Lots of variety. And well, you have to admit, the bottom was alive, but the top 2/3 was almost sterile. Didn't see hardly anything up there, but a few jellyfish and that barracuda.